What's going on?
Hey,
How are you?
doing well. How you doing, Jay?
Good, good.
Oh, there's Trav. You're on too. Good. Everybody's on. Perfect.
Somebody. Awesome.
Yeah, we just literally got off with our wrestling team doing a mental training session. So we literally just got off that thing and pop it on this one,
Awesome. That's great.
trying to get them all to your level.
Yeah, hey, that's the goal, right?
That's the goal.
How's
Absolutely.
everyone doing?
One at a time.
Yeah, we got a good core of kids who are who are not letting COVID and not letting this time really stop them, and they're in the gym and they're working and they're doing things and getting better. You always want everybody there, but we got a good core this year, so that's good.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, no, you gotta, sort of take what you have find the positive and what's going on now, and you can improve in other areas, that you typically wouldn't focus on, and just take it day by day and get that 1% better every day.
We actually talked about that. I have the kids. So I was doing this thing. We always talk about 1% better. And so
Yeah.
if you look at a day, there's 1,440 minutes in a day.
Yeah.
If you take 1% of that, that's 14 minutes and 24 seconds. So I had each of them pick something they're weak at, measure it, like push-ups, like do how many you can do, and work on it for 30 days, 14 minutes, 24 seconds every day.
Yeah.
And we're going to see the improvement. And the guys are already like probably 15 days into it, and we've seen some vast improvements. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. I definitely like that approach. Never thought about it like that. 14 minutes. That's a slim. That's not a long time out of your day. So
right.
It doesn't take much.
Right, and it's something the 1424 is something that they can catch on. It sticks in their head. So
yeah.
I know you just signed on to being an assistant at JWU, right?
So I was an assistant at JW for a little bit, and then now I'm actually one of the head coaches at the Buxton Athletic Training Facility. So I'm over in Randall, Jersey, working with Coach Buxton, who works with the Team USA, the World Team. So he's a great person to be sort of my mentor of the sport, and technique and how to approach things and everything, So he's working with the Kyle Dakes, the Jordan Burroughs, David Taylors of the world, and I'm sort of just taking everything in. So it's pretty awesome.
I've been to a couple of his clinics back years ago, and we just had on 2 weeks ago as a guest, Tyler Sung.
Yep.
Right from New Canaan, who through Buxton is now going to go wrestle for Lehigh. So there's wrestling's a small community, as you know.
Yeah. Tyler's been down to the club a few times. I've rolled around with him and worked with him as well. He's a great kid.
Yeah.
Great kid. Got a bright future, and him and Coach Buxton are also close as well. So
exactly.
I'm excited to see what he does at Lehigh.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
Who wins?
Yeah, so
who wins when you and Tyler wrestle?
What's that?
What's that look like when you and Tyler wrestle? Because those are different styles right there.
Yeah, it's different styles. I mean, it's not like, we went live or anything. It's me, helping him with technique. He came in right before New England's, I remember, and he was working on single leg finishes. So myself and Coach Buxton were helping him on, knee pivots and shelving the leg and whatnot. So, just little things, focusing on technique and whatnot. So, it's all good.
That's great.
Yeah. So it's funny that, I was saying wrestling's a very small community, and, you guys, East Fishkill, used to come to our tournament in Ridgefield every year.
Yeah.
Except the years that you wrestled. Like, it seems like you didn't come to one, right?
So my senior year, we actually started, we went, that was the year that we started going, I believe. And that was the year that I actually blew out my knee mid-season. So I sat that tournament out in preparation for the preseason. I think it was like 2 weeks before I blew out my knee. So my little brother wrestled in it as a 7th grader. I believe he was in the finals. I think he wrestled Marco Vespa.
Yeah.
Finals, yes.
That's a tough name.
A lot of Vespas. It's a lot of Vespas.
Yeah. That's a rich family over there, wrestling wise. So it's no, but it was a great tournament. Yeah, no, our team, goes down there all the time. So it is a small world. It's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was looking when I knew we were going to have you on. I'm like, you guys used to come all the time, and then I know that New York changed some of the rules. You guys didn't come for a couple of years, and budgetary issues with travel and stuff. But then I was like, I want to see if you wrestle at all, because I figured I remember the guys who were in the finals. I don't remember the guys who took 7th place, but
Exactly.
I figured you would never take 7th place. So
Nah.
I was looking for your name. I saw your brother's name.
Hopefully not, right? Hopefully not. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was there. I was watching. I was supporting my teammate Randy Earl and Tyler and the rest of the team. So
yeah, Randy started wrestling there real young too. I think he was I think he won it in like 7th to 8th grade, and then won it in the next year. And
yeah. Randy won that tournament a few times. He had quite good success over there. So it's a tough tournament. It's you guys got some good.
We like to pack it with as many teams that are like top 10 from the surrounding town or surrounding states. If we could get 1 or 2 teams that are ranked up there, we have no intention of winning our tournament until we deserve to win our tournament. We don't invite teams to help us place higher. We want a dogfight in the tournament, and we want everyone to walk out being like, "Wow, you see those finals matches? Like that's what we're looking for." So.
No, it's a great way to look at things, and it sort of fires up your team as well, because it's like, hey, let's train hard, let's win our tournament this year, and it's sort of nice to know that your tournament is one of the more high level tournaments that you guys will compete in throughout the year. So that's a great outlook, because you get teams all the time that sort of water down their own tournament so they can win it and whatnot. So
we've been there before.
I love the approach. Definitely love the approach that you guys are doing with that.
Yeah, and for us it weeds out certain guys real quick, because we're like, if you're not excited for this tournament, stay on the bench. Don't even come into the gym that day. Like, but you get some of our guys who flip the switch and their eyes light up, and it's their gym that they're defending. So
no, that's awesome. That's great.
Hey, so Jay,
let's
we're so happy to have you on.
Yeah,
and the goal of our podcast is to try to take lessons from elite athletes and hopefully kind of distill some of what makes you special. Because let's face it, you wrestled with and against hundreds and hundreds of kids in your life, but very few are 2-time national champions. So there's some secret sauce that you have that we want to find out. We want to learn that secret sauce so we can share with the young guys, and maybe they can kind of, take a little bit of it and make it their own.
Yeah. So I would say one thing that, I found that helped me a lot was sort of doing all the things that when you initially think like, oh, I don't want to do that, doing all those things, right? So when it's getting up at, 6 a.m. to go run, 2 miles or do a treadmill match, 2 or 3 treadmill matches, it's, you think I don't want to do that. Doing all that stuff, right? So doing all the stuff that you initially think like, I don't want to do, you have to do all that stuff.
Exactly.
Another thing that for me was sort of, you only get one shot at this, right? Sort of like in your lifetime, so like you only get one shot to be a high school state champ. You only get one shot to be a, national champ in college. So you have that 4-year window is sort of your one shot, right? So make the most of this opportunity. Coach Morris always preached it to us was, you don't have to wrestle, you get to wrestle, right? So you get to wrestle, be grateful for this opportunity. And I think with everything that just happened, it sort of makes that statement a little bit more true as well.
Absolutely.
So, you don't, it shouldn't be, I have to go to practice today, right? I get to go to practice. I get to wrestle. I get to get better. I get to study this sport and be a part of it, right? In the wrestling community and everything, so be grateful and thankful and make the most of your opportunities. So those 2 little things I would say were mindset wise, and of course, but you hear it, everyone says it, is have fun, right? So for me, it was wrestling is a sport, right? I do it because I love it. So you get the wrestlers that just get, nerves and they get consumed with the outcome. So for me, it was have fun. The sun's going to come up in the morning regardless, win or lose, right? So I have a family. I get to go home and sleep in my bed, right? So when I start thinking about wrestling being sort of like a small part of my life instead of it being consuming my life, it sort of makes it easier for me to have fun, right? Because at the end of the day, think about it, coaches, athletes, we put in hours and hours and hours, and we love this sport so much, and it's us. It's who we are today, right? But when you start thinking about the bigger picture things like family, the food on the table, you got all working legs and arms and whatnot, and you think, this is just a wrestling match, regardless win or lose. My friends are still gonna like me, my family's still gonna love me. So when you look at it like that, it's just like, let's just have fun. Let me just let it fly. Let me enjoy the moment. Then that's when you start having more success, right? So it's not just go out and have fun, but it's the things behind it, the mindset leading up for you to be able to say, yeah, I'm just going to go have fun.
Yeah.
Was that something that you always had, or did you learn to develop that kind of mindset? Did you have more pressure on yourself growing up?
Yes. So I would say my sophomore year, I put a lot of pressure on myself. My sophomore year of college, right? So leading up to, I would say, my junior year, I started that mindset. My junior year of college. So, but my sophomore year was sort of like the drawing line for me. So I lost in the finals my sophomore year of the NCAA tournament, and I had to sit back and think, how am I going to change this, right? What am I going to do? Because I went out on that finals mat and I was a complete deer in headlights. So, what am I going to do? And, I sat down and I talked to, my dad, my mom, my coaches, and I started listening to, the best guys in the world. And I kept hearing, the wrestling doesn't define me, right? Wins and losses don't define me, right? And I thought about that, and I said, well, what does that really mean to me, right? And I took that and I came up with this mindset for myself. And, I went to practice. I worked hard in practice, and, but come out of practice, there's other things, right?
You got to separate what you do from who you are.
Yes, exactly.
Wrestling is what we do. It's not who we are, right?
Exactly.
So you have that mindset. It's a powerful mindset.
Yep. So that's what happened, and then I started having fun. If I wish there was video of me before my finals match of my senior year, but I'm bouncing around, I'm listening to music, I'm joking with my coaches, I got my teammates, above the tunnel that I'm running out, talking to me, messing around with me, and like the other kid, he's a great opponent. I have much respect for him, but you can tell he's serious. He's got those wide eyes, like that, when you look at a kid and you're like,
oh yeah,
oh no, we're not, no. Yeah, that's what he had. And, it's just funny because I was there, I was there. I was him. I was there, so I completely got it. But I knew I just, win or lose, it doesn't matter. Do I want to?
Well, you know what it is, Jay, right? Too. It's win or lose, it doesn't matter. But I'm here. I put in all this work. I might as well freaking win.
Exactly.
Right. That's kind of like, right. I did all this stuff anyway. I might as well win.
Exactly. And that leads into another thought process I had with training. Right. Training's hard. Right. Going to practice, doing the extra stuff. You have, that's the first thing, you have to do extra, right? Everyone goes to practice. Your matches aren't won at practice.
Right.
Your matches are won outside of practice. What you're doing outside of practice. Are you eating right? Are you sleeping right? Are you around the right people? It's just, are you doing the extra workouts, right? So my thing was win the tournaments, win the national tournament before I get there. So when I'm there, I know I worked the hardest, so I'm just going through the motions. I already won this tournament. I already won it. I'm going through the motions. So that was another mindset of me. But so I think those three things are, my main thing. And I preach them to the kids that I work with now, and, to current athletes that are around me. It's just, have fun, be relaxed, win everything before. Right. So it's definitely different. Right. A lot of people don't think it that way, but that's what worked best for me, I would say.
And you said it earlier too. You didn't say these words exactly, but, and I hear a lot of athletes say this, if you can fall process over outcome. So if you can fall in love with the process, if you can enjoy the process of, you know, going to work and working out extra and traveling to another practice and finding the competition. Once you do all that, then the outcome, we can't control the outcome.
No.
You could be the baddest dude and other dudes a little bit better than you, and he wins, right? Or I always use the soccer analogy, because soccer is the one sport that just always kills me, right? You could play almost a perfect game in soccer.
Yep.
In the last minute, someone slips on wet turf and a goal gets scored and you lose 1-0. You can't control that outcome no matter what. So you have to fall in love with the process like you did.
Yeah, no, you're 100%. You have to. If you don't enjoy it, right, and you're miserable, and and you see it all the time, right? Kids are at practice, but they're not actually at practice. You know what I mean? Like they're, you know, staring around. They're going through the motions, right? You're there to go through the motion. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your coach's time, right? And if your parents are driving you to practice, you're wasting your parents' time.
Yeah.
Right. So enjoy it. You have to fall in love with it. You have to. Right. And it's hard. It's hard to fall in love with it. But once you start seeing the success behind all the stuff that you're doing, then it's easy. Right. Then it's easy. Yeah. When you come home with that gold medal or you beat a really big name kid, you're like, oh, that's because I was doing all that extra stuff. Right. And I'm getting better. I'm studying film. You know, I'm the first one in the room and the last one out. You know, little stuff like that. Right. And it's also just being a good person in general. Right. So you get, you know, stay humble. Right. So you get sometimes, unfortunately, you know, you'll see the star athletes and they're sort of, you know, that sort of jock, mean person. Right. And they always end up falling down the line. Right. You know, karma's a real thing. Right. So just be a good person, be humble. Right. And don't ever talk down upon another athlete. Right. Because everyone grinds. Right. Everyone goes through that process. Right. So respect it. The sport's a lot of respect. So, you know, just be a good person in general.
So outside of those like 2 hours of practice, what do you think was the best thing that you did as far as extra work that led you to become like the champion that you are? Like, what do you think was that one thing? If you had to pick all those things, what was the best thing that helped you outside those 2 hours of practice?
The best thing that helped me was constantly making sure that I would become a better athlete, right? So I had a very good strength and conditioning coach that supported me throughout this. And he's not very well known. He's just a local guy in Rhode Island, Louis Felix. And he would put us through these very sort of like, I don't know if you've seen the stuff that Kyle Dake's doing, the functional pattern stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of like that ball slams, you know, some rope work, ladder drills, a lot of balance stuff. So that stuff right there, like we would go on the Olympic rings and we do Olympic ring stuff on the Olympic rings. So he made me a better athlete, right? And wrestling is a lot easier when you're an athlete. So I would say the program that he put me through, you know, definitely helped me the most. So it really didn't have anything to do with wrestling. I mean, would we do stance in motion at the end of the hour workout? Yeah, we would. You know, but it didn't really have much wrestling involved. It was, you know, becoming a better athlete, conditioning my muscles, right? So I would say that would be the one thing that definitely put me to the next level.
So Jay, that's awesome. Take me back for a second, because you obviously were a successful high school wrestler, right? Mm-hmm. You obviously were a very successful wrestler in your sophomore year. You got all the way to nationals. What was it about that match or that time or that Jay that put you as a deer in headlights, you know, at that time? Like, you know, you've been in big spots before, but.
Yeah. I would just say, honestly, it was, I believe it or not, I think it's just a lack of experience, right? So
even with all your experience, we weren't at that level to experience.
I wasn't at that level. That being on that national stage is it's a completely different. Like I was in the placement match at Super 32, right? I was in the state finals in high school, but being up on that national stage is completely different, right? And I didn't get to go to the national tournament my freshman year because I got injured, right? So I think, you know, on paper, a sophomore never makes it to the national finals, right?
More freshmen than sophomores.
Yeah. So it's, I did it, and it was, and throughout the whole tournament, I was fine. It was fine, cool, and just another tournament. And I saw the raised stage, the lights dimmed, and it was just, I froze, and it happens. It happens to the best athletes all the time. It happens. So I think the lack of experience is definitely.
Yeah. Have you been a goal setting guy? Do you set your goals, write them down, create a process to go with them? Is that the way you
My
did
whole life. My whole life. So, when I started that, throughout my whole career, and I just remember, the two main things was, before my first national title, I'd always drink a gallon of water a day. So every morning I'd write, NCAA national champ every day on the gallon. On the gallon, right? And then after my first title, on my computer, the off screen, it said 2-time NCAA national champ. And it actually still says that because I never changed it. But yeah, so so little reminders like that, right? Constantly just plugs it in your head, even unconsciously, right? So like I look at that, just open my computer, boom, and it's there. So just positive reinforcement constantly, right? It's very important throughout our sport. So, writing it down, believing it, right? But you have to believe it. So you can write it, but if you don't believe it, then you have to really believe it. And it helps when you're training like a national champ, right? When you're training to be a national champ, it helps, right? It helps you believe what you're doing, right? So if I'm just going to practice, and I'm saying I'm going to be an NCAA champ, you're not going to believe it. You're not really going to believe it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you're training like a national champ, and you're writing it down, you start drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit.
Yeah. Sometimes it's easy. You hear some motivational speakers or whatever, and they'll just say, write down your goal, but they don't tell you have to put the work in order to start to buy the fact that you can do this.
Look, the people at the top of the world, right? Whether it's wrestling or just in life in general, they work hard. Work hard. You have to work hard in anything you do in life if you want to be successful. And that and wrestling, thankfully, sort of paints the blueprint, puts together the blueprint for life, right? So, and it's just in general, the most successful people in the world, they work their tails off, right? They work extremely hard. So in the sport of wrestling, you have to work extremely hard in order to be successful.
Yeah, we had I don't know if you know Cross Canone.
Yeah, I know,
right?
Cross.
So we had him on one of our episodes, and he was funny because he said, he got to college and he wrote on his bedpost, 4-time national champion. And then his freshman year, he didn't make it. So he went back. He said, all right, 3-time national champion. Yeah. And then, he didn't make it. Then he lost in the finals next year, like 2-time national champion. But, his goal changed, but his pursuit of excellence and a pursuit of wanting to never changed. It never died. He never, even though he failed, at those tasks, he never quit. And that's a big difference. He was never a failure.
Yeah.
And he became a national champion.
Yeah. Look, adversity is a part of the sport. You're going to face it. You can't be a true champion until you fail. I truly believe that. And I think everyone has experienced that at some point in their career. Everyone.
And in life.
Yeah. I mean, you got to take your lumps. Whether it's early or late, you're going to take them,
We learn more from our losses than we do from our victories, without a doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have a bit of like a reset process? Because like, it's so easy now to look back and say, like, it's so easy to learn from your losses, right? Like at the position that you're in, that we're all kind of in right now, it's easy to look at your losses and learn from them now, right? You've understood that that's how you learn. To the young kid who's a sophomore in high school, who still is figuring out how to handle losses, do you have any sort of process that you go through, right? Accepting the loss, analyzing it, reevaluating your goals, maybe from then on? Can you talk us through a little how you might handle that?
So you got to ask yourself, are you doing everything possible, right? Are you leaving every stone unturned? And 9 times out of 10, that answer is, you're not. You're not leaving every stone unturned, right? So figure out what stones you have to turn and turn them over, right? And I know some people, they hate watching losses. You got to sit down and you got to do it, right? You got to sit down with a coach, and you have to be able to take criticism, right? Mm-hmm. This is what you see a lot more in younger high school, athletes. I find that it's sort of hard for them to take criticism a little bit. Like, hey, you're doing this wrong. You gotta try this way, or and they're like, oh, well, So be able to take criticism and leave every stone unturned, right? And it's a tough sport. This sport is unforgiving, right? And you can't cheat wrestling. You can't cheat it. So if you just took a loss and you skipped practice, once a week for 2 weeks, well, there's your answer, right?
Yeah.
There's your answer, right? You can't cheat the sport. This is the one sport you cannot cheat.
And I think, Jay, do you find, I think one of the challenges that as coaches that we see with kids, especially the kids who are not at the top level, and this is probably the reason why they're not at the top level, being honest with yourself is an important part of this too. When you said just now, I asked myself, did I do everything that I could do? Did I turn over every stone? A lot of kids are going to say to themselves, yeah, I have. But the truth is, they haven't even come close to it.
Nope.
How did you have that? Was that from inside you? That come from your parents? That come from coaching? How did you get that where you could be honest and say, I didn't freaking work as hard as I really should have today?
Yeah. It came from myself. It was me just being honest with myself, right? So you got to be honest with yourself, right? So there's no secret recipe to it. It wasn't, my parents saying that I got to do this, that. I was the first kid that wrestled in my family, so I didn't really know. It was just myself, right? Well, I skipped practice 2 times this week, and I lost. Why?
Yeah.
You skipped practice. It's
not rocket science at that point.
Yeah, I decided to, sleep in an extra 3.
Yeah.
And go and work out. It's, again, like you said, you got to be honest with yourself. And if you're not honest with yourself, you're not going to have success.
Yeah,
it does come with age. It does come with age. As you mature, it starts to become a little bit easier, right? But if you have that, if you have these key components as a freshman, as a sophomore, you're onto something special. You got something special, Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So it is always funny to watch the kid who keeps getting taken down the day after crossface day, and he's like, Coach, why do I keep getting taken down? It's like, well, because you skipped practice and we taught crossfaces.
Exactly. Exactly.
You wonder why everyone else in the room who was here yesterday knows how to defend this thing, and you're wondering why. And you really have to ask, and I think that's where my dad's question came from, because they look at us, they honestly aren't honest with themselves. They honestly weren't like, oh, we probably went over that yesterday when I skipped.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
They've got to realize that it's way bigger than them.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the process is way bigger than the individual. You're just hopping along for it.
And you got to think about it too. Is like, you skip practice. You're not just hurting yourself. You're hurting your drill partner, right? You're hurting your drill partner. And people are like, oh, wrestling's an individual sport. Well, I personally don't think so. I think it's just as much as a team sport as it is individual. I think you got the best of both worlds in one.
Yeah.
So if you're not getting better and you're skipping practice, well, what are you doing to your drill partner, right? I'm not going to drill with someone who doesn't show up to practice every day. I'm just not going to do it because it's going to hurt me, right? So if you want to be on, and wrestling is a lot more fun when you are on a successful team, let me tell you, right? Because my high school team, I'll be honest, we were not the best. All right, we were not the best. But my college team, we were freaking good. We were good, right? And it was so much easier to go into that practice room every day and have fun, and enjoy the process, right? So it's a team effort, right? Hold your teammates accountable and hold yourself accountable.
I mean, yeah, you could take that same thing, put it into any team sport. put it into football, right?
Yeah.
If the quarterback wants to work on like getting ready for the game that Friday night, and his starting receiver doesn't show up to practice, you know, or even the starting corner doesn't show up to practice, and the routes are shitty, or the defense is crappy. That's not helping anyone get better. It's just the same as in a full on team sport. If you have the third string guy who has to show up to practice 4 days out of the week, and then you put the starter in, no one knows what to do with the starter. You know, it's all connected. Everybody's connected.
Yeah, just hold yourself and hold your teammates accountable, right? You guys all want the same goal, right? You guys all want to win a team state title at the end, or a New England title, right? Or win every tournament, or go undefeated in dual meets, right? You got to hold yourself and you got to hold your teammates accountable. And sometimes that's hard when you're friends, right? Yeah. Sometimes it's hard, right? It's hard. My best friend didn't show up to practice. Well, you know, you got to sort of separate it and call him, hey, why weren't you at practice? You know, what are you doing? You know, it's hard, especially, you know, as an underclassman, but these are things you have to do in order to be successful as yourself and as a team, right? These little things.
So, you know, and you just mentioned friends, and you know, any champion, anybody who succeeds in anything has to sacrifice certain things that the average person's not going to sacrifice.
Yeah.
And for some people, it may not feel like a sacrifice. How was it for you? Did you feel like, you know, having to go to the gym and do the extra and maybe go down to Jersey to wrestle against somebody or whatever, and miss a party or miss a social activity? Yeah. Was that a sacrifice for you, or how was your mind play with that?
I knew it was a sacrifice, right? I knew it was, right? But I knew the goal was worth it, right? I knew at the end it was going to be worth it, and I knew that my friends, right, would understand what I'm doing, right? And they did, right? So if they're truly your friends, they're not going to force you to go out. They're not going to force you to do this or that. You know, they're going to understand what you're doing and what you're pursuing, right? So you have to do all the right things off the mat. You have to, and if they don't understand it, right, then maybe you shouldn't be around those people. You are who you surround yourself with, right? So is it a sacrifice? Yeah, but it's all worth it at the end, because those parties, it's not going to go away. Nothing goes away, right? It's always going to be there. It's just right now you're focused on something else,
right.
You know?
Right. And I think, you know, and that, again, another challenge that we see, you know, I think all coaches see with younger athletes is not even the parties. It's just realizing the sacrifice of wanting something in the moment versus the long term. So yeah, I feel like having a cookie now. So I'm gonna have a cookie, even though that's not part of my nutritional plan, right? Or I don't feel like running this morning, so I'm not gonna run this morning. I'll do it tomorrow. Those things are killers. Those things kill. You have to do something whether you feel like doing it or not.
Yeah. Well, right? And that's when you get those champions, right? Doing the stuff that you feel like when you think I don't want to do it, or I can do it tomorrow. You know, no, I got to do it.
Right. It's one of the first things you said when you came on.
Was it?
Yeah, exactly.
I wrote it down. Do all the things you initially say, I don't want to do that.
Yes.
Initially. Do you say I don't want to do it? Do it.
And I'll be honest with you. There was so many times where I'm sitting there after a long 2-hour practice, and I'm like, you know, because I'm like, I do not want to go do my strength and conditioning workout in an hour. I do not want to do it. But I went and I did it. And let me tell you, I'm happy I did. You know, I'm happy I did.
You know, one of my my mentors, he says, you know, that we don't want to be temporary, we want to be legendary. And temporary is I do things when it's convenient for me. Legendary is I do things all the time, regardless of how I feel. And I think that's a huge, you know, that sticks in my mind all the time, because that's what makes the difference, you know, and two-time national champion like yourself is telling us that, you know, already twice in one podcast. So it's important.
Yeah.
Listen, kids, listen. The man's telling you, listen.
Pay attention.
That's the secret sauce right there.
Pay attention.
Yeah. Hey, I wish someone, you know, told me all this stuff, you know, and you get it, especially the kids that, I mean, they don't, you know, it's all cliche and it's all sayings and whatnot, but no, like, we're telling you this because we've been through it and we know what the process takes, right? So sit down, listen, and do your own version of it.
Yeah,
right?
and it's not even, you know what? It's not just kids. It's people
everyone.
in college. It's people
It's
who
everyone.
we work with. It's everyone who'd rather put off. They want the short-term reward of that enjoyment of eating that hot dog. I'm just using food, but you know, whatever it is, as opposed to that's not in line with my goal. There's no alignment to my goal with me doing that. And
well, you got to ask yourself, right? Everything that you do, right? Is this helping my goal, or is it not?
Yeah, man.
It's simple. Is it helping or is it not? And if it's not, then you shouldn't be doing it. Right?
And if you're not sure, it's probably not. Because if it was helping you, you know it was helping you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, so
I mean, you know, it's funny. We've only been on a short period of time with you, but we've been on about 35 minutes right on here, and you've laid it out. Like you've told everybody. You've given everyone the secret, which is no secret, but you've given everybody exactly what they need to do. The roadmap is here. You know, if you want it as bad as, and I think that's another thing, you have to want it bad. Like you said, you have to want it bad. And if you do, and you follow the things that Jay just told you, you can do it too, right?
Yep, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely. 100%.
And you said something earlier too, Jay. You said it helps if you're more athletic to wrestle.
Yeah.
I used to say all the time to my kids, you don't have to be a good athlete to be a wrestler, but if you are a good athlete and you're a wrestler, it's gonna make you better, right? So we have a kid on our team who used to wrestle with me. He was a state open champion, and I make fun of him all the time. I love him like a son. And you know, he would dribble a basketball, and one time he'd shoot and hit the rim. Next time he wouldn't even hit the backboard. Like he just couldn't. You know, but he was a badass wrestler. And then we have kids like T.J. Hepburn. I don't know if you know T.J. Hepburn, right?
Yep.
T.J. Hepburn you could just tell he was a gifted athlete, and he was a grinding wrestler. You put those two things together, you get something special.
Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. Look, there are non-athletes in our sport that have great success, right? Yeah. But I bet you that if they worked on their athleticism and made themselves a little bit more athletic, I bet you they would have had way more success, right? So if you get tired of going to the gym and lifting weights, right, then focus on becoming a better athlete. You know, make your feet quicker, right? Make yourself more agile, balance, strength in areas that you normally, wouldn't have so much strength, right? There's so many things that you can do to improve your athleticism, right? Whether you're already a superb athlete or you're not, right?
And like I said, they could be fun too. I do remember we used to some of our kids go down to Empire Wrestling, with Deagle, and we used to have the Askren brothers there before. And one time they had Kyle Dake. Dake was coming in, and he used to run this little program where, it was like a ninja program, and they were working on flips and running and doing a backflip off a wall. They weren't even working on wrestling. Like I said, they were becoming better athletes. And then then Ashtons would get them whatever, and they would do their wrestling. But same mentality you're talking about.
Yep, exactly. That's it.
Yeah. Well, it's good stuff, man. So we'll kind of get toward the end of this. So our next two questions are usually, we have three questions. One is, what's next for you? Like what do you got going on in life? That is next.
No. So right now I'm working on, sort of getting people to see what they have in Jersey, right? And it's at Buxton Athletics, right? At the Buxton Athletic Training Center that we have, is that we have the premier, and probably we are the mecca of Jersey wrestling, right? So we have a 14,000 square foot facility. We got Coach Buxton, who's the Team USA coach, right? So there's a week on the weekend he's coaching Jordan Burroughs and wherever in the country, and then on Tuesday he's running practice, right? And then you have myself in there. We also have a girls wrestling program in there, a great novice staff. So we have something extremely special there. And the kids that are starting to buy in, right, and sort of destroy that culture that for some reason Jersey has of club hopping. That's what I call them, club hoppers. right? They just drop in and sort of committing to one system. They're starting to get really good. They're starting to get really good, and it's really exciting.
Yeah. And what town is that in, Jay?
So for me, it's just Randolph, New Jersey.
Randolph. Okay.
Yep. So that's what my goal is right now, is just, sort of, and it's hard. It's a tall feat, and I'm sure, it's, people are like, oh, that's an impossible task to sort of destroy that mentality, right? But I'm doing it, right? People that normally wouldn't sign up for memberships are signing up, and they're buying into our system. And my goal is to get all these kids that we have and get them to achieve all their goals, right? And so that's, for me, that's what makes it more exciting for me as a coach, is that I get to enjoy watching kids go through the process and evolve as a wrestler, right? And as a person as well, right? And I get to be that influence in their life throughout that process. So for me, that's what I'm focused on right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's what coaching is. That's the reward of coaching, right? Every coach who's on here, every coach who listens to it, everybody knows you don't do it for the money.
No.
Maybe if you're a national, maybe if you're Alabama coach or something like that in football, but wrestling coaches, we don't do it for the money. We do it because we want to empower these kids to be great, and you have the juice already. You got the coaching juice already.
Yeah. And you know what? You got to give back to the sport, right? The sport gives you a lot. You got to give back, whether you're coaching, whether you're refereeing, or something. Just give back to the sport that gives so much to you, because it really does. It teaches you a lot, So.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So my last question is usually something we call a badass bag. So, something when you're in a moment of adversity and you can reach back and be like, you can reach into your badass bag and be like, well, I accomplished this, or I did that. This is going to be easy. It might be something as broad as, I wrestled, I made it to 2 Division II national championships, or it might be, a really hard wrestling camp, or a project you have to do, you studied 18 hours for a test. Is there any badass bag thing that you got where you you can pull it out and put that badass bag on the table?
Badass bag.
Like for me, I went to Jay Robinson wrestling camp, 30-day and 28-day intensive wrestling camp, Minnesota. Like that will want to be by far one of the toughest things I've ever done. I know I did that.
I would say most people would think my badass bag is being a 2-time national champ, but I would say my badass bag was leading all divisions in the country for Tech Falls my junior year. I think that's pretty badass.
That is badass.
That's pretty badass. Yeah, the scoring machine in it there.
Oh yeah. So I think that's my badass bag.
Yeah. I bet. And while we're on the subject, this is my last question too. And while we're on the subject of bag, I ask this question all the time, especially for wrestlers, because every athlete, but every wrestler for sure, carries around a backpack, right? I always laugh because you got these 112-pound guys carrying these bags that are almost the size of them. So my silly question is, what's the most unique or the most important thing that you had in your bag? We've heard answers from my shoes to a certain kind of tape to big giant knee pads that massage your knees.
The most unique thing,
I would say,
or most important.
I would say, and it's true, right? I always carry my post weigh-in beanie in my bag.
Your post weigh-in what, Neil?
Post weigh-in. So
really?
For some reason I always had to wear a beanie to weigh-ins and before going to the venue, everything. So I always had that beanie, even at practice. Like I always had that beanie in my bag.
That's the magic beanie.
Is that just like is that like your I made weight? You're all fucked up.
Yeah. That's my sucked out. I'm here. I'm ready to go. They see me walking into the building. I know he's here.
That's your "you're all in trouble" hat.
That's it.
Yeah,
everybody's in trouble now. Because if you didn't make weight, I bet you wouldn't put the beanie back on.
No,
I bet you're not wearing the beanie.
But I'm sure you always made weight.
Yeah. You see me post tournament walking around without my beanie on. I'm probably not wrestling.
Yeah, well, now we know.
Is it like a bright orange one so that everyone in the room knows there I am?
Unfortunately, it wasn't. It was just a typical black Adidas one, but I should have gone like it was a neon.
Everyone knows like, oh shit, Jay
Yeah.
made weight too.
Yeah. Well, listen,
awesome.
Jay, man, we really appreciate you coming on tonight and really, really giving us a lot of great stuff. I mean, you gave us everything that we want to hand down to the kids. So that was tremendous. And I don't have any doubt that you'll accomplish your goal working with Buxton. I'm sure people have told you that you weren't going to be two-time national champion, and you said, okay, we'll see. Same thing you take in here. So I know you'll be successful with that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was an honor to be on, and I wish yourself and the kids and your team the best of luck in the future.
You too, man.
Yeah, and if there's anything we can ever do to help promote the Buxton Academy and what you guys are doing, just let us know. Hit us up on Instagram or whatever. I know we follow each other on Instagram now, so definitely help promote that. Anything we do to help promote the sport and get everybody better, it's a good thing, man.
Awesome.
If you start coaching at a high school down there, we're looking to add a Jersey team to the challenge. So
yeah, we are. So if you know a team that was looking for a tournament, looking for a challenge, we're looking for a Jersey team to come. So get them.
All right.
Look up I'll
how's
your brother doing, by the way?
Just not Blair.
No, my brother's doing good. He actually just got some surgery on his knee. Finally, the whole season he wrestled with a tear meniscus, and he was supposed to get it post like 2 weeks after the state tournament. Never got done. He got it done like a month and a half ago. So he's finally back on the mat. He got back on the mat last Thursday. So he's starting that transition process, right? That transition process into being a college athlete. So he's doing good. He's getting big. He's lifting weights. So
good. Yeah.
I'm excited too.
I'm sure right now that a lot of orthopedic surgeons, that business is probably booming because everybody's been waiting for that time when I don't have that. I don't have to get back to recovery real quick back to the season. So we took advantage of that time. That's good.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
You tell him we said hi, and when he wins a national championship, we'll get him on here.
Sounds good.
All right.
Absolutely.
Take care, pal.
All right.
Have a good night.
All right. You too.